Hey, what's up guys, John here. California is sitting in a massive deficit, $45 billion on the low end. Some are saying as high as $68 billion.
California is facing a $68 billion budget shortfall.
And what they're planning to do to solve this problem is to go after every single business inside the state. They're planning on raising billions and billions of dollars to fill this gap. But what many people don't realize is what's going to happen next. When we look at the cost of living inside of the state of California, look at what has happened to LA over the last several years.
The number of homeless across the city of LA and county of Los Angeles has skyrocketed.
The rate that businesses left California last year was twice that of 2020 and 2019 and 3 times higher than 2018.
People are not in good shape. A lot of businesses are closing up. I mean, look at Yelp, for example. Yelp, this is 2020. Where are the most businesses closed? Well, LA and California are, they're number one for most businesses closed throughout all of America. And we're going to see this number grow even more. But what I believe is going to happen next is we're going to see the really big private equity firms, the pension funds, insurance companies, all of these really big companies, big pools of capital, stepping forward, issuing loans on all these distressed properties, issuing loans to business owners, finding ways in which they can help them. Meanwhile, they're going to multiply their wealth and acquire top-tier assets for pennies on the dollar. And that's what we're walking into in California. 2025, 2026, 2027, we're going to see so many people lose everything. A lot of people have a belief of Los Angeles thinking that it's the land of the rich and the famous. Sure, in Hollywood Hills, the Bird Streets, I would agree. A lot of people have a ton of money. Beverly Hills, Truesdale, Bel Air, I agree. North of Sunset, a lot of people have a ton of money. But if you go to East LA, Boyle Heights, Silver Lake, you start to, drive through Los Angeles, through the real Los Angeles, you'll see it's a lot of people that moved here in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, bought a little shack, and are holding on for dear life. Little 1,000-square-foot house. They have a really small business that they operate on a shoestring budget. They're barely surviving. That is the core Los Angeles. That is the majority of Los Angeles. Well, those people are about to be, really tested in the coming year or so. I'm going to show you exactly what they are doing right now and how this is going to really change the entire landscape of Los Angeles. Please hit the like button, hit the like button to share this content, educate more people about what's really going on inside of America's housing market and economy. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself what I believe is going to be a massive wealth transfer, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any issue at all in your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free call for next week. Take a look at this. And this is pretty shocking. So, California Governor Gavin Newsom's budget could cost billions in higher taxes for businesses. Billions. California Governor Gavin Newsom pledged that his budget proposal to balance the state's ballooning $45 billion deficit would not include higher taxes on workers or businesses. This is doublespeak, because I don't see that there's a real need right now to increase general taxes in the state and put more burden on working folks and our competitive posture. I do not believe we need that this year or next, Newsom, a Democrat, told reporters during a press conference earlier in May. I don't know how many times I can say no to the tax question. Yet, a new report published by the California Taxpayer Association, a nonpartisan and nonprofit tax research group, suggested Newsom's revised budget plan actually contains several indirect tax increases on businesses that could cost them as much as $18 billion over the next 4 years. $18 billion. Newsom called for banning businesses with annual revenue over $1 million from deducting their net operating losses and limiting usage of business tax credits to $5 million for 2025, 2026, 2027. Look, a business running on $1 million in gross revenue is a business that's barely making anything inside of the state of California. Barely making anything. I've taken businesses from $0 to $1 million, and I'm telling you, at $1 million, you make nothing, like almost nothing. After you pay for, suppliers, you pay for distribution, you pay for utilities, you pay for employees, you start to pay all of your expenses, marketing, pay for everything, you're left with nothing. You barely eat, right? And so when you're banning these businesses from deducting their net operating losses, and they live in the state of California, where the cost of living is through the roof, they're basically putting a final blow for business owners. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So right now, in minimum wage in LA, $17.28. Now, I know many people are going to say, John, you can't live on $17.28. Sure, I agree with that. But minimum wage, in my opinion, wages should be based on the value in which an employer brings to, or employee brings to the employer. It has to be a win-win relationship. The employer has to extract more value than 1728 for that to make sense for the employer to want to actually hire that. In my opinion, you probably need to make, the employer at least 2x or 3x that, because the employer has cost that they have to pay for. They have a lot of, expenses running to through that business to make it run, right? In 2026, minimum wage is going to $23. In 2025, it's going to go to $28. So we're walking into the world of automation. Businesses are going to start automating as much as possible and finding ways to fire and get rid of staff that are not, bringing a return. You think about this too. If minimum wage is $25, how many people are going to go out to a burger joint and get a burger, get some food? Because if that waitress is getting $25 an hour, that's going to be one expensive meal, right? Not many people are going to be able to afford it. And so when you look at this, on $25 an hour, that's $1,000 a week, $1,000 a week, $48,000 a year, and then you have to have, legislation for CalSaver stipulates employers must offer retirement plans. You're going to have a lot of expenses and exposure with dealing with hiring inside of California. So that one employee might cost you $55,000, $60,000, $65,000 for one employee. You have 10 employees, $600,000, right? Not including all your costs. So you think about this, and now you won't be able to get all these write-offs. So the big question is, what is this going to mean? How is this going to, how is it going to reshape California's future? Well, come January 1, 2026, the state would tax wealth that exceeds $50 million at a rate of 1% each year, with an additional 0.5% taxes on assets valued at more than $1 billion. So what we're going to see is we're going to see more and more and more wealthy people leaving the state of California. Wealthy people, I know they say wealthy people are bad. Wealthy people are wealthy for a reason. They have massive economic output for their existence. So for one very, very wealthy person, they probably made 100 other people really wealthy, right? They probably have fed indirectly thousands of people. When you look at families and their children, and you start to look at all the people that benefit from that business being in existence, to tax these people at this rate is a real blow not to the wealthy, because the wealthy, they're simply just going to relocate to Palm Beach. They're going to go buy a really nice house somewhere else. They'll buy a nice spread or ranch in Texas. They're fine. They're going to continue to be wealthy. But everybody else is really who's going to lose. And they say Taxpayer Protection, Government Accountability Act, championed by a group sponsored by California homeowners, taxpayers, and business associations, organizations, would require voter approval for any new California taxes. Supporters point to the state's fluctuating budget and instances of fiscal mismanagement as reasons for measure mandating 2/3 vote. California is becoming too expensive for working families and family businesses. We need to give Californians a final decision on raising their taxes and better accountability of how the state's local governments spend their money. Now, you look at this. This is what it actually costs to live in California. This is why I think we're going to see home prices fall in a very, very, very big way. They say the average, or the median home inside of California, in Los Angeles to be specific, Realtor.com, $1 million. Now, if you're buying that at a 3% mortgage rate, maybe $4,500 a month, that's affordable for some people, right? For a lot of people, actually, in California. But when you're looking at an 8% mortgage rate, which is where we're at right now, if you have the average credit score in America, which is 698, and you're looking at the tax rate inside of Los Angeles, which is 1.25%, on $1 million purchase price with 20% down, 8% rate, right? No HOA dues, home insurance, which is the average, $1,566 per year, according to Policy Genius, right? So we're doing straight across the board, 20% down payment. Most people aren't putting 20% down, but let's say you are. $7,000 a month for the median. This is the average. The average home is $7,000 a month, meaning you would need to make at least 3 times that. You need to make $21,000 a month, not including any debts or expenses. So if you have credit card debt, you have any of these other debts, you need to make more than that, obviously, right? So you need to make $250,000 a year to be able to afford the basic home. How many people are doing that? And most people are not putting 20% down, they're putting 6%. So you're looking at what, almost $9,000 a month? This is going to be an absolute disaster for most people in California. But the businesses that are going to be issuing automation, the businesses that are going to be coming in there issuing these loans on all these properties, especially when all these properties are going to start being required to, decarbonize and do all this, add all these newfound costs for a lot of these properties. I mean, it's going to become a major, major opportunity for investors inside of Los Angeles, inside of the state of California. I mean, it's a really sad thing for the 99% in California, because California is a beautiful state. I would argue it's probably the most beautiful state in all of America. It has so much going for it. Now, if you go to downtown LA, it is a disaster. Horrible. I used to take my kid there when he was, 1.5. Take the stroller. We'd even take the metro. We'd walk around downtown, get a, ice vanilla latte, get some food. It was an awesome time. We had a great time. Would I take him there now? No, I would not. I actually went there a couple weeks ago. It looked like a third world country. It looked like El Salvador before El Salvador cleaned itself up. It looked like Venezuela when things were really, really, really bad in Caracas. I mean, it looks like, it looks like a very unsafe place for a child. And to spend $8,000, $7,000 a month for the average home, I think a lot of people are going to look at the writing on the wall saying, this is horrible for my business, this is horrible for my safety, and the cost of living is out of control. I can't do it. Yeah, it's a sad situation. It's a sad situation. And that's why I think we're going to continue to see this. So this company, they just hand the keys back for $1 billion in debt across 28 buildings. And the lender, Henke Capital, who was one of the lenders on the One, that property that sold to the founder of an online store, I forget the name of it, but it was sold for like $100 million, $125 million. Fashion Nova, I think it was, fashionnova.com. And you start to look at this, he was the main lender on that, and he's gonna assume 20 of the properties. Lightstone Capital has taken over 3 properties. We're gonna start seeing these lenders pop up saying, you know what, look, you're in a bad situation. You got a 50-unit building, you got a 4-plex, you got 2 properties. I can lend you $100,000. I can lend you $200,000. 5% mortgage rate. Don't worry about it. 5%. You pay a balloon payment at the end of the 2 years, and you'll be fine. And what's going to happen? A lot of people are going to be forced to take that, and then at the end, the balloon payment's going to come. People aren't going to qualify for the loans. The investors are going to be able to acquire the properties. So this is what's I believe, going to happen. We're going to see a lot of really, really great people. A lot of people that make up, Los Angeles. A lot of people that are, I believe, are some of the best people in LA. And they're going to be forced out of LA. And a lot of businesses are going to be forced out because of a lot of these policies. What do you think about this entire situation? Drop below. Let's have a conversation about this. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself what I believe is going to be a massive wealth transfer, especially in California, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item in a credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free call for next week. Catch you next video.